Celia looked him over. Blonde hair, perfect skin, chiseled arms, dimples. He was cute, suspiciously cute. Too attractive for his own good, as her mother would say. Before she left, she kissed him again. "The door will lock automatically behind you, and there's coffee on the counter if you want it." "Thanks," he said. "So I'll call you?" "Good. Well, see you later then." From his tone, she figured the odds of his actually calling were about 50-50. Not bad for a drunken hookup. Celia headed toward the subway. Was it weird that he had asked to stay in her apartment? Should she have demanded that he leave with her? He looked clean-cut, and he said he worked in finance. He didn't seem like the type who would go home with a girl just to rob her, but what did she really know about him anyway? Celia was 26 years old. Now, into what she considered her late 20s, she had begun compiling a mental inventory of men she should not sleep with. As she stepped onto the A train, she added, "Guys who might be suspected of stealing my belongings," to the list. 20 minutes later, she was sprinting through Port Authority, praying for the bus to be 5 minutes late. Just 5 extra minutes, that was all she needed. "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women," she muttered. "Come on, come on." It was a habit of hers, a remnant of a time when she actually believed in God and would say a Hail Mary whenever she was in trouble. Celia realized now that what she had once thought of as prayers were in fact just wishes. She didn't expect the Virgin to actually do anything. Even if she did exist, she probably wouldn't be in the business of controlling buses running express from Manhattan to Northampton, Massachusetts. All the same, the familiar words calmed Celia down. She tried to use them sparingly so as not to offend the Mother of God, a woman she didn't believe in, but even so. Her mother revered the Virgin Mary, saying the rosary in her car on the way to work each morning, keeping a statue of the Madonna in the front garden for years, until a Presbyterian family moved in across the street. Not wanting to offend them, she dug up the statue and put it out back. She believed that Mary had all the power, that Jesus was secondary to her because he had come from her womb. Celia often marveled at how her mother was perhaps the only person on earth to perceive Catholicism as matriarchal. She reached the gate just as the bus driver was collecting the last of the tickets and closing the door. "Wait!" she shouted. "Wait, please!" The driver looked up in sleepy-eyed surprise. She hoped he wasn't as hungover as she was. "Please, I have got to get on that bus," she said. "Hurry up, then," he said. "There's 1 seat left." It wasn't like Celia to draw attention to herself in public, but the thought of Sally's disappointment if she had to call and say she was running late was just too much to bear. Besides, Celia had been looking forward to this weekend for months. She didn't want to miss a moment with the girls. She pushed through the aisle, past mothers bouncing crying babies on their laps, teenagers with their headphones blaring, and 20-somethings having loud cell phone conversations about insanely private matters. Bringing new meaning to Hell on Wheels, that ought to be Greyhound's slogan. She was desperate for more coffee and as much Advil as she could take without killing herself. Despite the 4.5-hour bus ride that lay ahead, Celia smiled. Soon she would be with them again. Sally, impeccable and impulsive, a 25-year-old millionaire in a thrift store wedding gown. April, brave and opinionated, with that sometimes reckless air that worried them all. And Bree, beautiful and bright-eyed and mired in a doomed love affair. She was still Celia's favorite, despite all the changes and distance between them. Celia sat down beside a pimply teenager reading a comic book. She closed her eyes and breathed in deep. 8 years earlier, on Orientation Day, Celia wept in the back seat of her father's Lincoln Town car all the way out to Smith. The family had to pull over in a Taco Bell parking lot so she could get herself together before meeting her housemates. By the time she arrived at the front door of Franklin King House, she was fixed with a big fake smile and half a tube of her sister's Maybelline concealer. Celia had always prided herself on being a girl who didn't wear makeup, but she realized at that moment that she did in fact apply powder and mascara and eyeshadow most mornings. She just never bought any of it herself.